It's Thursday. That means it's the Thursday Night Thunder Series. Welcome, everybody. I'm Ellis Thomas alongside Chris Smith in the Slingshot Racing Media booth tonight. We're bringing you race number 5 in the Gen 4 Arca cars of the TNT Series tonight from Sonoma Raceway. Nestled amidst the Sonoma Mountains near the notable Sears Point Formation, Sonoma Raceway stands as a prominent fixture on the NASCAR circuit. Its 1.99-mile, 10-turn layout presents a distinct challenge for stock car drivers, with modifications designed to suit their needs. Despite trimming away 2 slow turns and half a mile of track, the course today still offers plenty of elevation changes and technical sections, some of the biggest in the country. Maintaining tire and brake performance while staying competitive proves to be a significant test for NASCAR Cup and Truck Series drivers throughout their seasons. Since its inception in 1968 as Sears Point Raceway, named after the original family farm on the property, the circuit's undergone various transformations under different ownership, even including a stint with a Hollywood studio. Initially hosting a range of events from USAC, IndyCar to AMA motorcycle races, financial struggles led to its closure back in 1970. However, just 3 years later it reopened, and the track catered to amateur sports car competitions and drag racing. It wasn't, however, until NASCAR's premier series arrived in 1989 that the track's fortunes began to turn around. Subsequent extensive renovations starting in 2000 with a $60 million improvement program have elevated Sonoma Raceway to the upper echelon of American motorsports venues. Chris, fun fact about Sonoma, there are 25,000 individual tires around the track serving as impact protection barriers for drivers who run into trouble around the course tonight. What are these drivers going to have to do to be able to avoid needing to make use of those tire barriers and make it to the end in one piece with a good finish?
Well, Ellis, there's not a lot of runoff area here compared to some other North American and European road courses around the world. You don't have, that extra pavement to sort of save you if you do miss your marks a little bit. a lot of dirt, a lot of grass, and as you mentioned, those tire barriers. So you're going to have to make sure that you hit your marks all night. Try to be as perfect as you possibly can. We're going to see drivers slipping and sliding off the track tonight. It's just inevitable, but you want to try to minimize all those risks possibly tonight. We got 60 laps around this twisting and turning road course here in Sonoma, California. About 39 laps, maybe 40 laps on a tank of fuel, so we do expect one stop tonight. And look at that number, look at that down there at the very bottom. It's not a number, but it is a note. High tire degradation expected. That's going to be a key story, especially as those 39 laps progress here on this tank of fuel.
Chris, we're going to be following plenty of more stories as we progress towards the race here in pre-race. But first, it's another pre-race tradition, everyone's favorite. If you're able, rise and remove your caps for the playing of the national anthem. We'll be back right on the other end. All right, back here live from the virtual Sonoma Raceway, getting ready for race number 5 on the TNT Series season. Chris, point standings had a bit of a shakeup last week. That middle of the field, really second on back, is an intense fight. Let's talk about these points real quick. Aaron Smith, with his win last week at Richmond, was able to pull away a little bit from Levi Cox, who's been his closest competitor all season. We saw some good runs out of Greg Shepsis and Chase Leahy as well. They kind of closed the distance just a little bit to each other, but man, can anyone catch Aaron Smith this season? What's it gonna take?
Well, I think that, it's going to be tough. I mean, Aaron's just good almost every single week, and I think that everybody's going to see really how good he is tonight on road courses in these stock cars. I mean, it's almost impossible to beat him. And it's going to be difficult. It's going to be really, really difficult. I think that maybe, these drivers are going to have to possibly have him run into some bad luck. Obviously, we're going to have a little bit of a point shake-up here once the playoffs start. But yeah, I think it's going to be difficult. I think he's going to have to run into some trouble possibly.
Yeah, I think that's worth noting. The way this season works, the way the playoffs work is we'll hit 12 races, and then the final 3 races of that 15-race season, the points will be reset with the top 10 with a 50-point spread. So second, third, fourth, fifth, they're not going to be that far back from whoever is the points leader going into race 12. Right now, it looks like Aaron Smith has the field covered, at least for the moment. That could change very well tonight. But yeah, it's going to require a lot. These drivers are going to have to definitely up their game just a little bit if they're going to close that distance. Levi Cox, Greg Shepsis, as well as Leahy and Blassie, they've all got it in them. We've seen these guys race before, and we're going to talk about a couple of those drivers here momentarily with some of the stories to follow. We'd like to set the race up for the fans at home, give you some things to think about and focus on as you watch the race. And that first story, we just mentioned it, we've got some road course ringers out here. Folks like Greg Shepsis, Chase Leahy, and obviously Aaron Smith, right now sitting on the pole. These drivers are drivers that say that road courses are their best track. And just looking at it, Greg Sheps is second in qualifying right now. If you're one of those drivers, what are you going to have to do early? Does your kind of race strategy change early if you're someone like Greg Sheps is, who's going to be potentially starting outside of Aaron Smith? How aggressive are you with Smith early?
Well, I mean, the beginning of the race is by far the best time to make a pass, so I think that you might see some guys, try to be a little bit aggressive here on the start. But turn one here at Sonoma, Ellis, it's not like turn one at a lot of other road courses. Turn one on a lot of road courses, comes at the end of a long front straightaway. This track's just a little bit different. You're going up the hill. We'll do a lap later with one of these guys just to try to, give everybody a perspective of, what this place looks like. But yeah, I think that the beginning laps are the best time to do that, but also that's probably the most likely time for you to run into trouble as well. So I think that you just got to be cautiously aggressive here on the opening lap.
Speaking of running into trouble, this is a rhythm-based racetrack. Any road course, for that matter, really is, but drivers are going to have to get on their rhythm. Now, it's a smaller field tonight, so it might be a little bit easier to hit that rhythm, but drivers they've got to hit their marks and not miss anything if they're going to run the perfect laps here and chase down their competitors in front of them. We're going to kind of see how that looks when we got on board with some of these drivers later on in the race, but you got to hit the rhythm. Drivers are going to be using the brake, they're going to be using the throttle, they're going to be turning their wheels left and right tonight. They're going to be downshifting, upshifting. There's a lot more that's going to go into this race. It's a very technical race compared to what other races we've seen this season. With that, passing zones. We were mentioning how aggressive our driver is going to be. Where are the best places to pass on this 11-turn road course?
Probably the best passing zone on the track is turn 11, the hairpin corner. As you come up to complete your lap, turn 7 down the hill into the chute. That's also going to be a pretty good passing zone as well. Those two areas kind of stand out to me as probably the best passing zones. You mentioned the rhythms, the rhythm of this track, Ellis. The rhythm section, one of the most iconic ones in motorsports. I think the S's here. You will not see any passing going on there, probably all
we
night
hope
long.
not.
Yeah, we hope not.
And with all of that, even when drivers are hitting their rhythms, when they're making passes, tire wear is going to be critical here.
Yeah.
We already talked about it. Drivers are talking about how those rear tires are just scrubbing off pretty early. You really have to make sure you're not sliding your tires, you're not letting the car fishtail on the exit of the corners, and just making sure you're using that throttle as precisely and as delicately as possible. Is there anything drivers can do to hang on to those tires longer than their competitors?
I always think about the old saying, you've heard it probably if you've watched NASCAR racing on TV over the years, treat that throttle pedal and your foot like you've got an egg between that pedal and your foot. That's what I always try to do here whenever I'm racing. That's the only way that I can really, sort of teach myself and keep after myself to, not wear those rear tires out. We're going to see some drivers, that wear them a little bit quicker than others tonight with all this horsepower that they can put down with their right foot. So you got to be very, very disciplined here. And sometimes it's hard to do in a competitive environment.
Discipline is going to be the word of the night. Most disciplined driver right now, Aaron Smith, had a very disciplined lap during qualifying to put himself on the pole, almost a full second faster than the second position starter Gregory Sheps. And that leads us to tonight's starting grid for race number 5 of the TNT Series. Pole sitter Aaron Smith with a blistering lap of 1 minute 16 seconds. Very fast for Aaron Smith. He's going to be joined on the outside of that front row by Gregory Sheps in the number 27. Gregory Sheps has had some pretty fast runs recently. I know that he's going to be looking to do even better tonight. He's got a top 10 average finish. Richmond, he was very fast, but had some trouble, finished 14th. We'll be looking to see him improve that tonight. Levi Cox, another very strong driver. Average finish of 3rd this season. He's going to be backing that up with a 3rd starting position in that number 1 car. Brandon Roberts going to be starting 4th on the outside of row 2 in that 00. I was looking through a couple of Halloween paint schemes tonight. We might have a couple here on track. Brendan Roberts starting 4th. Chase Leahy in the 34. Last week's runner-up at Richmond. Good run for him. Looking to back that up tonight. He's a self-professed road course aficionado. He's going to be starting on the inside of row 3, 5th. Steven Lashinsky, who had a lot of speed in the past several weeks. One of the loosest cars on the track last week, Chris, and was up front much of the race, but with some issues late, had to finish 14th at Richmond. Robert Walton going to be starting 7th in that 66. It's going to be Glenn Grimm in the 08. I think he's got a pumpkin paint scheme on board that 08 tonight. Not going to be hard to miss that one out there. Chris Blassie going to be starting 9th in the number 15. Sorry, that's David Reichman that's got the pumpkin paint scheme. That's not going to be hard to miss back there in 10th position in the number 6, David Reichman. Final starting grid spot of the night. Drivers getting ready to make their pace lap around here. I'm sure drivers going to be paying close attention to every single corner here, just making sure they remember where those corners are. Several of them have had practice, but even the best drivers are prone to make mistakes at a road course, especially it being the first one of 2 on the season. Chris, any last thoughts from the crew chief to his driver as they get ready to come to the green flag tonight?
Just a road course start. Cold tires can be an issue. You definitely want to make sure that you can get through this opening lap clean. But you will also have an opportunity to pass here on the opening lap. So it's a very delicate balance right here. You're trying to walk a tightrope, Ellis, about being aggressive and maybe getting a spot or two. You can't get too greedy. Maybe get a spot right here on the opening lap, but don't throw it all away on this opening lap, because if you do, it's not like at an oval where you got cautions that can bring you back into the race.
Yeah, no cautions tonight. We're going to be full green flag racing all of the way. No matter what happens on the track, yellow will not fly, so we've been told. And we're going to be getting ready to see some yellow fly here in just a minute. Aaron Smith heading out of turn 10, out of the chute, down to turn 11. This hairpin corner that'll see drivers approach the start-finish line. Pace car is going to be pulling off here on pit road momentarily. We'll talk more about that pit road later on in the race. But Aaron Smith, he's going to be leading them down to start race number 5. Drivers making their way through the hairpin here. They're going to hit the restart zone in a moment. Wait for that green flag to wave as they come down the straightaway. We are under green conditions for the first time tonight. Let's go racing. Aaron Smith down into turn number 1. He's got Gregory Shepsis to his outside. Let's see if we can make it cleanly through the first corner. Smith woes it down. Looks like that was Levi Cox on the outside looking to retain the 3rd position. He's going to clear Brandon Roberts and slot in there. Driver single file right now. Looks like most of the way. A little bit of a battle going on back in 8th or 9th position. But Aaron Smith out to about a 6-car length lead as he heads through the corner here. Now headed down into turn number 7. Chris, you can see just how hard these drivers are using these brakes to get through this corner right now as they kind of lurch forward.
Yeah, you can, especially on the downhill parts of the track. You've got to use a little bit more brake, and there's a lot of elevation change around this track. A little bit less brake in the uphill braking zones and a little bit more brake in the downhill braking zones, and now they're working their way through the S's.
Right now, Gregory Sheps is staying pretty close to Aaron Smith as they wind their way through 10 down towards that turn 11 hairpin complex. He's still about 4 or 5 car lengths back. That hasn't changed over the course of the first lap. The biggest battle on the track right now is Brandon Roberts as he creeps up to the back bumper of Levi Cox, seeing if he can gain a position on that driver. That's a battle for the 3rd position right now. Levi Cox has it. Brandon Roberts wants it, but that's settled down as the battle for the lead heats back up. Aaron Smith has Gregory Shepsis just 2 car lengths from his back bumper up through turn number 2 now, headed down towards 3.
Yeah, and while we're watching the battle for the lead right here, Aaron Smith and Gregory Shepsis, we'll go ahead and take a look right here and see about what the old pulse check shows on Aaron Smith. He's pretty calm and cool right now at a solid 94, 93 beats a minute.
Boy, and he's got Shepsis all over his back bumper. Shepsis looking like he might try to make a move down into turn 7. He's going to think better of it this time. He's going to have to wait as they roll their way through the S's down towards turn number 10. Say that 5 times fast. He loses a little bit of ground through the S's. We'll see if he can make it up towards 10.
Yeah, riding on board right here with Aaron Smith, looking back at Gregory Shepsis. You can see how close you get to the curbing, how you have to use that curbing. Look at Shepsis right here, get all the way out there, right there towards that grass right there, coming out of turn 10. You see how the nose just sort of falls down there. I think he overdrove maybe a little bit right there, but he's going to get a nice little drive up off turn 11 right here. Yeah, you're going to see, tonight these drivers maybe dip some wheels off into that dirt off and on tonight. No harm, no foul, as long as you can keep that car up underneath you, as Aaron Smith sets the fastest lap right there on lap 2.
A very fast lap for Aaron Smith, but that has not deterred Gregory Shepsis in the 27 from creeping up to that back bumper as they work their way through the first half of the track in this uphill section. Now headed back down, downhill toward, I can't say that towards turn anymore. I got to stop myself. They're headed to turn 4A.
Yeah, this right here is turn 7 right here, that right-hander. You're going to try to clip that right side right there before you clip the rumble strips right there on the left side. And here you are through the S's, and you're just going to try to get this as straight as you possibly can. If you can sort of straighten out the S's, it's all about approach. If you get off on one of the corners in the S's, then you're probably going to mess all of them up. It's such a rhythm section that you have to get through, and messing up one of the corners can definitely mess up your rhythm, as Shepsis is real close to Smith right here going into turn 11.
He is very close to him in the hairpin now. Shepsis just a quarter of a car length back off the back bumper of Aaron Smith. Down the front straightaway they go, getting ready to come to lap 4 here of number 60. Aaron Smith has not been able to get away from Greg Shepsis. They pulled a bit away from Levi Cox, who's sitting in the 3rd position right now. Cox kind of running his own race, Chris, and it's been a great season for Levi Cox. Obviously, it hasn't been good enough to put himself in the championship lead, but listen to the finishes here for Levi Cox the past 3 weeks. Miami, he finishes. Vegas, he finishes 3rd. Miami, he finished 2nd. Richmond, he finished 4th. So he's got an average finish of 3rd this season right now. And right now looking to improve on that 3rd place average by chasing down Gregory Shepsis. And he's closed up just a little bit as the drivers approach the S's for the 4th time tonight. But he's going to have his work cut out for him. Obviously, pit strategy here is going to be something that some of these drivers might try to gain a little bit of track position and maybe gamble just a little bit. We're going to talk about that later on. But it's Levi Cox in 3rd position. Back in 4th behind him, now about 20 car lengths back, is Brandon Roberts in that 00. Brandon Roberts, great looking gray paint scheme. There's something about a gray paint scheme. They seem rather plain, but there's something appealing about them for sure. Brandon Roberts having a good run right now in 4th position, Chris. He's got an average finish to 6th this season. So these drivers up front, they are no slouch as he works his way down the front straightaway.
Yeah, and Brandon Roberts is somebody I think that had a lot of confidence coming in tonight. We've seen him talking this week in the Discord here, the Thursday Night Thunder Discord, that he is very confident. He's done a lot of work, a lot of practice to try to have some speed here tonight, and it's showing right now. Got a good little bit of speed right here in this 00 in the 4th spot.
Yeah, he's going to be one to keep an eye on in that Covert Captured Co. gray. Is that a Ford? Is that a Ford?
That's a Dodge.
Dodge, yeah, okay. Johnny, don't hate me. I know Johnny's watching in the chat right now. He's a big Dodge fan. Chris, Aaron Smith has not been able to get out that far in front of Gregory Shepsis. That 3-car length lead has kind of remained stationary as they finish the S's down towards turn number 10 as they go downhill approaching turn number 11. It's still a 4-car length lead for Aaron Smith. You think he's showing his cards right now?
I think that he's probably, being very patient. I think that he's probably trying to look after those rear tires. But, the question is the 27 also doing that? And if Gregory Shepsis is also doing that, then, if you're a Shepsis fan, you got to feel pretty confident. You got to feel fairly good about the pace that you see right here. He's really hanging with Aaron Smith and, keeping him honest right here. And Aaron's just not walking away from it. So Sheps has got a good little bit of pace right here, and we'll have to watch over the course of this run if he's able to maintain that pace that he's got right now.
Hey, speaking of pace, the chat is blistering right now with a lot of messages going on. Mike Benton saying he wishes he was here, talking about Aaron Smith being the yellow blur. Connor Line says, Happy Halloween, Connor. Happy Halloween. Hope you were able to go out and trick-or-treat maybe and get some candy. Let us know if you had a costume this Halloween. Also, he said he's not going to watch because he's handing out candy. So he's handing out candy to trick-or-treaters.
Right.
We might hear some... Yeah, we'll let it slide this time. We might hear some doorbells in the background for me. I know my wife's handing out some candy tonight. Mike Weber says he wish he was racing. He's got Halloween festivities as well. And then Johnny Rapp chimed in saying, how dare you? I'm sorry, Johnny. I apologized right after it happened. I mistook a dodge. If you are watching, let us know who you're rooting for tonight, or hey, what your favorite Halloween candy is. And yes, happy Halloween, everyone. It is October 31st. We are racing, though, here for the Thursday Night Thunder Series. Let us know who you're rooting for, what your favorite candy is in the chat, and we'll choose one lucky winner to win a 1/64th scale diecast. We'll send out to you for absolutely free of charge. We'll draw a winner at the end of the race. Mike says he was a werewolf. He went with his daughter trick-or-treating tonight. So I'm sure that was kind of a scary costume, Mike, but hopefully she got some good candy. And yeah, good times. Halloween always brings out some interesting folks and interesting costumes. Right now, Chris, things are still interesting up front. I have to say I'm kind of surprised, but I'm not surprised that Gregory Shepsis is right on the back bumper of Aaron Smith. That time by, they ran almost not too far off, less than 0.2 of a second separated them in lap times. And that number 27 has just continued to hound the back of the 70. I know we've talked about it a lot. Is there any strategy there? Maybe hoping Aaron Smith is forced into a mistake, potentially.
Yeah, at a road course, you definitely can force somebody into a mistake. I can tell you right now, if I had somebody breathing down my neck right here, I would be much more prone to make a mistake than somebody like Aaron Smith. You just putting your front bumper all over their rear bumper, maybe getting in their mirror, getting out of their mirror, maybe acting like you're going to make a pass. Those sort of things can definitely cause a driver that's, got some pressure on him to maybe make a mistake. I don't suspect that we'll see that out of Aaron because, like I said, he's really calm and cool under pressure here in this series. But you never know. Shepsis is definitely keeping him honest right here and not let him get away. The only thing that I'm really seeing that might be a little bit worrisome out of the 27 is a couple times under braking, I've kind of seen his car a little bit more sideways than Aaron Smith's, almost like he's having, he's sort of jamming the brakes a little bit harder, and that will generate some heat. But also, could be a situation where he's kind of running up on the back of Aaron Smith, and he's just got to, he's trying his best not to run into him. So, don't know what to make of that right now. We're definitely going to keep our eyes on it.
We're going to be keeping our eyes on that and several other stories. Let's talk about Chase Leahy. A little bit further back, he's running in the 5th position. Leahy has really gotten it together in the last several weeks, Chris, particularly last week at Richmond. He had a second-place finish, finished 10th at Las Vegas a couple of races ago, so 2 top 10 finishes with the top 5 in the past 3 races. Kind of brought him closer towards the front of the point standings, and yeah, he's looking good out there in that Pine Golf Chevy right now, that number 34, having a good old run, kind of running by himself. How do you feel about this as a driver in terms of when you're kind of not racing anybody on the track? Is there a danger to kind of getting complacent and maybe going into autopilot mode?
Maybe a little bit, but this is honestly like my favorite place to be on a road course is, just kind of by myself. Nobody real close to me in front of me, nobody real close behind me. Sometimes if somebody's real close in front of me, I get lulled into making a mistake because I might feel like I got a chance to do something with them. And, it's exactly the same deal with, feeling pressure from behind. I might possibly make a mistake, but Leahy's doing a really nice job here. And, he's got that, probably one of my favorite helmets ever. He's got that Star Wars Rebel Alliance pilot helmet on, and it's looking real good right here in the Sonoma sun. You can definitely see like the shield and sort of like how it looks like pilot goggles like over his eyes. Is looking real good out there. Definitely looking good.
Hey, Chris, we couldn't avoid it any longer. It's time for some Halloween jokes.
Oh boy.
We brought our best material tonight. If you're in the chat, let us know if you think you know the answer to these little Halloween riddles or questions. Why was the Black Cat the best driver on Halloween? Why was the Black Cat the best driver on Halloween? think about that one. And right now, watching Steven Lashinsky roll around in that number 99 Monster Jam car. And Chris, I'm pretty sure he's worked on a variety of Monster Jam cars as a mechanic and a crew chief. I know he's worked on Monster Mutt, Dalmatian. You ever been to a Monster Jam event?
Oh yeah, I've been to a few of them, and they're always a great show. They always put on a great show. I think they're. As Lashinsky gets off in the dirt, he will not be the last. He will not be the last one to do that tonight. It's just so easy to do. I think that Monster Jam is great when you can go to a bigger arena. The arena in the the town that's pretty close to me where I grew up, it's a little bit too small to put on a really good Monster Jam show. So I think they put on a much better show when they go to like a bigger arena, maybe like the size of a baseball stadium. I think they definitely, when they got a little bit more room, they're a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, we will talk about that a little bit more, but talking about exciting, back in 9th position, Chris, this is a good little battle going on by Glenn Grimm and Chris Blassie. If we can turn to that real quick. Looks like Grimm setting up the pass on Blassie, headed down there into turn number 7 towards the S's, and he's going to try to make it stick. They better not go side by side through the S's. Will Blassie get out of it? He's going to think better of it. They thought about going side by side, and you can see just how much that will get you out of sync through that rhythm section of the track, Chris. Blassie kind of took a different line, a different approach in there, and you're going to see how much time he loses to Glenn Grimm and that special Jeff Gordon paint scheme. Jeff Gordon, one of the best drivers to race here at Sonoma Raceway. That's one of, out of all the favorite Jeff Gordon paint schemes, I think that's probably my favorite that he's ever run in terms of regular season paint schemes. It's just kind of iconic. Hey. I think that was the one that was running when I started watching NASCAR.
I do not have a favorite Jeff Gordon paint scheme, Ellis. I dislike them all equally.
Equal opportunity hater, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Glenn Grimm pulling on that pass for the 8th position, putting the 08 in 8th. And hey, I do want to return to that discussion about Steven Lashinsky and Monster Jam. I've never been to a Monster Jam event. I'm kind of curious to go. You know, they come to Atlanta every once in a while. Maybe next time I have the push and motivation I need to get over there because I love watching it on TV. And I think I could drag Ellen to one of those things at some point. But I misspoke earlier. When I said Steven Lashinsky finished 14th at Richmond, I was looking at the driver right above him. He actually had a 6th place finish at Richmond, Chris, and he backed that up earlier before that at Miami with a 4th place finish. So he's been hot the past couple of races with an average of the 5th place finish. He's one spot out of that right now, running 6th position. So Lashinsky looking to improve on his season average the past couple of races. Doing a good job right now keeping his wheels underneath him, even though he got off track just a moment ago. Quickly back on and did a great job of recovering. That's all you can ask for. Drivers just recovering from those mistakes very quickly, and he hasn't made one since. Hasn't put a tire in the wrong place. So Mike Benton in the chat says Glenn Grimm, best paint every week. Absolutely, Glenn Grimm brings it every week with those special paint schemes. Tonight racing the Jeff Gordon paint scheme there, running in the 8th position.
I will say this.
Chris, yeah, go ahead.
I will say this to respond to Mike right here. I do agree. He does bring the best paint schemes every week. Even though I'm not the biggest Jeff Gordon fan, he does bring it every single week with the paint schemes.
And speaking of paint schemes, I don't know if this is one from Simrap Market or not, but Simrap Market is the presenting sponsor of the TNT series, and we're going to take just a moment to hear from our partners at Simrap Market. We're going to be back right on the other end of this short break. All right, back here at the virtual Sonoma Raceway, the TNT Series presented by, or brought to you by Sim Racing Media. We're live here in the booth. It's Ellis and Chris. Great racing going on right now. Aaron Smith is your leader, working his way through a little bit of lap traffic. It's Aaron Smith. Then Gregory Shepsis has fallen back just a little bit, but he's still in the view of Aaron Smith's rear view mirror in second place. A little bit further back now, 13 seconds back, is Levi Cox. Has kind of lost track of those two leaders. Brandon Roberts is fourth. Chase Leahy rounds out the top five. Chris, I think it might be a good moment. Maybe we might actually wait now that I see that there's another car in front of Aaron Smith. We might let him get by this lap car. I'm curious to see how he sets up the pass if he has to. Looks like the lap car is going to get away. Chris Blassie in that 15, giving way to the leaders. Might be a good moment to try to hear from Aaron Smith, figure out what's going on in that race car and how he's handling things right now. You good with that?
I'm good with that.
All right, we'll go ahead and pull him in. Aaron Smith, this is Ellis and Chris in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I've got you.
Hey, man, well, you're making it look pretty darn easy right now, but your second place competitor there, Greg Shepsis, was giving you a run for your money in the first 10 laps or so. What was that like with him just in your rear view mirror those entire 10 laps? What kind of pressure were you feeling?
I was feeling a little bit there. Yeah, I'm trying to save tires right now, so I kind of wanted to hold him up as long as I could there. I was watching him gain a lot on me on the entries and exits with the corners, and I figured that he was running his stuff off a little bit, but we'll have to see.
What's it handling like out there right now?
The tires feel like butter. I've taken good care of them, but they don't seem to be gripping up very well anymore, so yeah, it's pretty fun out here.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you allowing us to check in. That heart rate is looking good. Good luck out there for the rest of the race.
10-4, thank you.
Yep. All right, so you heard from Aaron Smith saving his tires, but he says they are still sliding around like a stick of butter on the stove, Chris, and you wouldn't be able to tell it by watching that number 70 car running around, running some of the fastest laps on the track right now. He is out to a 1.2 second lead. Levi Cox back in third, 15 seconds back. Brandon Roberts is 9 seconds off of him, 24 seconds, Chris. This is a blistering pace that Aaron Smith is running right now. I suspect it's going to take Gregory Shepsis going to have to really dig deep here and pull something from within if he's going to run Aaron Smith down, at least looking like Smith's doing a better job of saving those tires right now. We had talked about that a moment earlier.
Yeah, Shepsis got really close to the tire barrier. Yeah, but that lap, Shepsis gained a lot of ground on Aaron Smith. I wonder if, here in the last probably about half a lap, it seems like he's gained a lot. So, Shepsis not letting him get away is pretty impressive that he's able to maintain his pace as he has. You heard Aaron mention how it looked like he was charging in on him on corner entry. That's kind of what I saw earlier, too, and, it seemed like he was being a little bit more aggressive with the brake to try to gain as much ground as he could, but he's definitely making it work. He's definitely hanging in there, and anytime you can hang in there with Aaron Smith, you're getting things done.
Yeah, Sheps is getting things done right now. Great run in second position. Hey, Johnny in the chat says, I've never seen a cat drive, but maybe he always lands on his wheels. Close, but no cigar. The Halloween trivia question was, why was the Black Cat the best driver on Halloween? Chris, any guesses?
Man, I had the vampire one last night, and I don't think I got a chance to even say it. I'm not sure.
So this is really appropriate for a road course, but the cat had perfect timing. Yeah.
That's not as good as the vampire one I heard last night.
No, that was good. We'll probably pull that one out for folks who are tuning in for the first time. We'll pull that one out again later. You just can't spoil the answer to that joke. Right now, everyone looking to spoil Aaron Smith's night. Gregory Shepsis is the closest to doing so. We're on lap 17 of 60, getting closer towards that halfway point. I'm curious if we're going to see drivers stay out till their fuel window closes around lap 37 or 38. I can't imagine what those tires are going to be like at that point.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that you're going to see everybody maybe split this race in half. I think that you'll probably around lap 30, you'll see a bunch of them We think that drivers can go anywhere from about 38 to maybe 40 laps on a tank of fuel here. So, at least that's the number that we got in pre-race. So, if they can do that, they're almost at that number right now. Maybe a driver who feels like they're struggling a little bit on pace, maybe that they kind of burn their tires up early. Maybe they come to pit road early here, but Aaron right here, Aaron Smith, Gregory Shepsis, I'm willing to bet that those guys might try to. Shepsis
is getting closer and closer to that wall every lap.
He's getting aggressive with it for sure. And what do you say, Ellis? Here at the end of the beginning of this next lap, do you want to ride on board with Aaron Smith here and just do a lap around here?
Yeah, that sounds good. You can walk us through it.
Yeah, we'll do that right here, and just sort of let everybody who's watching at home let them see this from a driver's perspective, and sort of talk you through the track right here. And there's nobody better to follow on board than Aaron Smith, who just gets around this place really, really well. He's coming up here to turn 11, which is the best passing zone here on the track. As he exits turn 11 right here, we'll actually ride on board with the driver of the number 70, Aaron Smith right here. Coming up to the start-finish line right here, he's going to go across the line. You got a left-hander right here, turn 1, and you're going to go uphill, and Aaron is being very conservative. You don't have to use as much brake up here. Get far left, then over to the right here. Very blind corner because there's so much elevation change. You go uphill. Now you're going downhill to this next set of corners right here. Now you're uphill again. Can't see anything past this corner right here. Now you're going all the way downhill. Got to use a lot more braking down here for turn 4. Go as far right as you can, maybe clip that curb. You can come really far over, watch that tire barrier, don't want to hit it. Get far left right here to try to set up for the apex right here. This is turn 7. Clip that rumble strip right there to the right, clip this one to the left. Now try to get as straight as you can right here through the S's. Bounce over those right there on the right side, to the left, to the right again. Don't want to miss your marks through here because it's going to cost you a lot of time. Very fast left-hander, might even carry the left front up in the air, and then a fast right-hander right here, turn 11. A lot of drivers go off to the left right here into the dirt. Heavy on the braking right here, down to third gear, down to second gear. Get far right here. Don't clip those tire barriers or those tires that you see, those tire stacks. Come off this corner right here. Don't spin the tires, want to save those rear tires. Left-hander right here, turn 12, across the line.
Chris, one of the things that I'm struck by just riding on board with Aaron Smith is during the kind of our normal broadcast angles from Whiplash Sim Cams, you can't really get a sense of just how much elevation change there is on this track. But when you're riding on board, there is no mistaking that this is this hilly terrain of wine country here in Sonoma, and these drivers have just another challenge to try to handle that because you can't really know what it's going to be like until you experience the uphill and the downhill and what that does to the handling of a race car. We've talked a little bit about that tonight, watching this battle for first place. Gregory Shepsis has fallen back about 2 seconds, but Chris, he's doing yeoman's work out here to stay within 2 seconds of Aaron Smith, who is just an exceptional force here at road courses. No surprise he's out front, but Shepsis giving him a run for his money, staying on his rear bumper, at least for the time being. 20 laps in of the 60-lap race. We're a third of the way, and shout out to, let's go drop back to 10th position. Just take a look at the best Halloween paint scheme tonight, I think, and that's David Reichman in this pumpkin paint scheme. Just making his way around the track right now. Just a normal Halloween night with a scary-looking pumpkin. I think that I might be a little bit intimidated if that thing rolled up on my back bumper and I was looking in my rear-view mirror, but he's got great paint schemes every week.
Hang on to it, David. Oh, he's going to hang on to it. Great job. Looks like he locked up the rear tires right there, but yeah, that's a good-looking paint scheme on Halloween night right here. And you know what? Some drivers, they don't feel as confident on road courses as they do on ovals. And, sometimes drivers will, they'll not show up for the road courses. Here David is showing up, racing here on Thursday night. And, he's guaranteed a top 10 tonight. He's guaranteed to pick up a lot of points maybe on some of his competitors. So, making the most of this night for sure.
Yeah, and he had a 11th place finish at Richmond and a 12th place finish at Miami. So he's working his way up each race, but he's had some good runs. And part of that, Chris, is he just stays with it and he doesn't give up. We've noticed that about Reichman each and every week. You might see him running a little bit further back early on or midway through the race, but he grinds it out. And I'll be darned if he's not in the top 15 at the end of every race and looking like he's going to continue that streak tonight, obviously with a small field, but he's out there just running his laps, continuing to learn. And again, that's all you can ask for out of a driver is just the willingness to make those laps and learn that rhythm and learn those corners. Right now, lap car going behind him, I believe that might be Brandon Roberts in the double zero.
I think that's Steven Lashinsky.
Oh, Steven Lashinsky in the number 99 rolling around David Reichman there, that Monster Jam car. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a wide panned angle here, so I saw gray and I thought it was Robert Walton, but it is Steven Lashinsky running 6th right now. Boy, Chris, Halloween, every year I give you a hard time about this. You don't like candy corn. You don't like candy corn. I'm curious who's watching in the chat right now, who's team candy corn, who is team anti-candy corn. I know Chris is anti-candy corn. What's your issue with candy corn? Is it a texture thing? John says he should go for some candy corn right now. Go get yourself some. Is it a texture thing or is it a taste thing?
I don't know. I just don't think it's got much going for it. I think it tastes like sugary wax.
I thought you were about to say it tastes like something else there.
No. Hey, yeah, we're trying our best to get up to get that
family broadcast.
Yeah, we're trying to establish Slingshot Racing Media here. Don't want to ruin everything in one go.
Speaking of establishing, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's just not a big fan. Just not a big fan.
And that is okay. Speaking of establishing Slingshot Racing Media, if you're watching and you haven't subscribed yet, help us out. Doesn't cost you anything. It's just going to put more eyes on your favorite drivers that you've tuned in to watch. Also, make sure to hit that like button. Check out the channel. We've got plenty of archived races. We had a great race last night from Talladega, the Sunset Showdown 2 from Votive Racing League, Chris. That was an awesome show. I still can't get over that finish last night, just how amazing it was. If you're curious about that, you can check it out in our archive videos. It's the latest video there. Give that a view if you're watching right now. After this race is over, check that out. Make sure to like that video and also subscribe. And speaking of subscribing, I know we got some housekeeping, but we've got a pretty big giveaway, Chris, that we're going to be doing for the Thursday Night Thunder Series. We're going to be doing this giveaway in January, but you can get registered right now. Literally doesn't cost you a thing. You just got to click the link at the top of the chat or the video description. We're giving away a 1/24th scale Dale Earnhardt Jr. autographed Oreo diecast. That's a pretty big giveaway and one of the best paint schemes out there for sure. Make sure you use that link, that sweep widget link in the chat to get registered for that. It's going to be an awesome giveaway. We're going to be doing that drawing in January. Lots of action going out on the track right now, Chris. Some lap cars kind of doing duel with each other as some of the non-lap cars on the lead lap continue to work their way around the track on lap number 24.
Yeah, and we saw Brandon Roberts and Chase Leahy getting real close together right there, and I think that, maybe the lap cars maybe cause a little bit of a separation right there. We'll see if Leahy can maybe sort of chase Brandon Roberts back down. Roberts looks like he might be stretching it back out a little bit on him right here, but this was the closest battle on the track for position on the lead lap right here. Roberts in the 00 in 4th and Leahy in the 34 in the 5th spot right here. We'll definitely keep our eyes on as Leahy blinks out, but he does come back.
Yeah, he just overdrove that corner as well. We're starting to see drivers slide around just a little bit more. Those tires are getting to that point. I think they've been at that point for a good while that they're not feeling too great. We think we're maybe 6-7 laps away from a pit stop here for drivers to come and essentially split the race in half, get a new set of tires, fill that gas tank full of fuel. But right now, everyone, Chris, doing a really good job just hitting their marks. I'm just looking. We haven't really had a whole lot of major issues throughout the race. I don't think anyone's completely lost control. No one's gone head on into the tire barriers. Everyone's had a pretty clean race so far. So great job for these 10 drivers. We talked about it being a small field on Halloween, but no drivers found that they're cursed yet here on the track. And I think it might be just go ahead.
Looks like Chris Blassie just got off right there in turn 10, but he rights the ship and he's still going.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it might be a good time before we start to see these pit stops to take one more quick break. And if you're liking what you're seeing right now, obviously this is iRacing, but you can do this too. Just go to iRacing.com. We're going to go ahead and roll a quick little ad to show you a little bit more, and we'll be back on the other end of the break. All right, back here live from the virtual Sonoma Raceway. Got a nice little battle, Chris. Chris Blassie is drawn back up to the back bumper of Glenn Grimm. Battle for 8th position right now. Aaron Smith is still your leader, but this is the hottest action on track. Chris Blassie in that white and black number 15 looking to get by Glenn Grimm, who had passed him about 10 laps ago. Not sure if the tires have kind of balanced out a little bit. Maybe Blassie's done a better job of hanging on to his, but he's trying to stay connected to the back bumper of Glenn Grimm, who's gotten a little bit further away here. We'll see if they can draw, if Chris Blassie has anything to get back up to the back bumper. I'm curious if we can do a quick ride along with Blassie to see what he's seeing out of that front windshield.
Yeah, riding on board with Chris right here as he goes down the hill right here into turn 3 and then into 3A. Look how he can't see anything beyond Glenn Grimm right there as he crests that hill, and then he goes downhill. Now he all of a sudden see everything. Looks like he's poking to the right here, like he maybe wants to get out of his mirror. What you're trying to do right there on a road course as he gets a little bit loose right there off of turn 4 is trying to get out of that driver's mirror in front of you, trying to make them, possibly make a little bit of a mistake, maybe overdrive the next corner. Glenn Grimm does a nice job right there of keeping it straight, and he's got his hands full with Blassie right now. It's a pretty intense battle for the 8th spot.
A very intense battle on lap number 27 of 60. That driver, Chris Blassie, out of Kentucky, trying to make a race of it for the 8th position here, getting by Glenn Grimm. He's a professed super speedway racer, but he sets up the pass on Grimm down into 11. He's got to be careful not to get to the back of that number 08. He doesn't, but loses a little bit of traction off that corner. Did not get off as well as Glenn Grimm. They're going to head down the front straightaway. Blassie's going to take another shot here to try to draw up with that back bumper of Glenn Grimm. Got through turn 1 pretty well as they head up the chute towards turn number 2.
Yeah, what it sounded like to me, Ellis, is down there in the hairpin corner of turn 11. Chris Blassie was all the way down into first gear, and I wonder how many drivers are going down to first gear. You can definitely do that. It does help slow the car down a little bit. You kind of use the transmission to slow the car down by downshifting as he's poking his nose to the right side again right here. But it does, also encourage you to spin the tires a little bit more on corner exit because of just the higher revs in the engine in first gear. So that's definitely another way that you can maybe wear those rear tires out a little bit quicker, as I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but Gregory Shepsis has just made a pit stop, Ellis.
Yeah, Gregory Shepsis did come down pit road for the first time. He was on pit road for about 47 seconds. He only lost 1 position, gave it up to Levi Cox, who's going to inherit 2nd position. Shepsis only loses 1 position back to 3rd. That's how much of a gap they had between them and the rest of the field. He pits on lap 28. I'm curious how much that might force the hand of the leader, Aaron Smith. Gregory Shepsis appears to be the only driver who can handle Smith on pure speed tonight. They've been running kind of within 3 seconds of each other most of the evening. The first 15 laps or so, Shepsis was right on the back bumper. So Aaron Smith probably now knows, based on the running order, that Gregory Shepsis has come down pit road. Where does that put him in terms of how much faster these lap times are going to be? I'm curious if we can get kind of a comparison here for Shepsis as we watch him roll around the track. I'm curious to see the lap time difference once he gets up to speed. We're going to try to keep an eye on that momentarily, but yeah, how many seconds is Aaron Smith going to give up on those older tires, and will it pay dividends later in the race? So, Connor, go ahead.
I was going to say, we'll find out right here as Shepsis crosses the line. Shepsis is coming up on the rear bumper of Robert Walton right here.
Major lap traffic right now from the leader, Aaron Smith. 2 cars doing battle. Smith goes through the grass. 1 car collides with him. Smith sideways. Leader has spun tonight. Aaron Smith reversing it down the track. He's going to have to be careful, though. A little bit of a tactic here to try to put himself in better position. Maybe going to pit this time by. And wow, Chris, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Aaron Smith just driving it backwards down the track. He spins it around. He's going to bring it down pit road this time. Going to try to make lemonade from the lemons he just got served, Chris. Wild moment there for Aaron Smith. Wow, I'm curious to see that replay because I saw that brewing for just a minute, and we just mentioned it. We didn't think many drivers had anything for Aaron Smith on pure speed, but there's the mistake we were waiting for.
Yeah, this is just, I just can't believe it. I can't believe what we just saw. Yeah, so Blassie and Grimm are battling for position right here in front of Aaron Smith. And yeah, Aaron he's trying to be patient, but also, you know, he can't just ride behind him forever. And yeah, looks like Glenn Grimm gets in the back of Chris Blassie. Blassie then gets sideways and hit into Aaron Smith, and then Aaron just to try to not slow down. He's trying to maximize his speed right here. Just puts it in reverse.
This is going to be a wild race off of pit road, too. Keeping fans updated. Gregory Shepsis could not get by Aaron Smith, who got off pit road just moments before Shepsis rolled around, and Shepsis had to drive it in really hard to try to get by Smith. Couldn't do it. Sorry to interrupt there, Chris. I just wanted to keep us updated on that battle for the lead.
Yeah, and we're back live right now, and you can see the difference right here. So Aaron Smith, I mean, this is just best case scenario for Aaron Smith right here. He's got a couple laps fresher tires over Gregory Shepsis right here. He was able to avert disaster right there on that spin, and he's still in the lead.
Yeah, somehow managed to make lemonade from the lemons, as we mentioned right now. And Aaron Smith, he's not driving a lemon right now. He is driving a hot rod. And Chris, I think he's now up to about a 2-second lead. Not too far off where he was before that series of pit stops that began with Gregory Shepsis on lap number 27. So curious to see, maybe Shepsis is saving a little bit, maybe recognize that he lost the car a little bit earlier than Aaron Smith in terms of tire wear on that last run. John Rapp in the chat says elite move by Aaron. I don't think Connor was happy with what happened to Aaron. We know he's an Aaron Smith fan, and there are some angry face emojis in the chat. He said he thought it was a recreation of Dale Earnhardt's move in the dirt, and yeah, that was on par with something you might see out of Dale Earnhardt, Connor. So you got a wild moment there. Let us know what you thought of that moment in the chat. Aaron Smith somehow managing to hang on to the lead despite getting involved in the incident with lap cars and driving it backwards for about a quarter of the track down pit road. So wild moment has put us at this point. Lap 31 of 60. Levi Cox had been your leader. He had inherited it on pit stops. He is now getting passed by Aaron Smith. That, Chris, shows you just how much distance they had put on Levi Cox back in third position. With those pit stops, still able to get back out in front of Levi Cox, who at this point just has to be hanging on with the tires he's got for sure. Definitely feeling that tire wear as they head down to turn 11.
Yeah, and I think that Aaron Smith probably would not have come to pit road as early as, as that was if that spin did not happen. But unfortunately, I think it kind of forced his hand where, he did not want to lose any more ground and possibly lose the lead. I think that he was maybe feeling pretty confident about running another couple of laps, but that definitely made it to where he had to pit then, and I think that, like I said, it's just the best case scenario for him that, he did not get any damage and that, he's still able to maintain his track position Levi Cox right here in the second spot. He's just been passed, but he is on same tires that he started the race, 32 laps, and probably going to see, I mean, he's pretty aggressive right there over the curb. Like, he's trying to use the curbing to get the car to turn. It looks like he's going to let Shepsis go right here. He recognizes the fresher tires. I think that we'll be seeing him coming to pit road here probably fairly soon.
Yeah, especially with getting past for a second. Chris, I was just about to ask how aggressive Gregory Shepsis would likely get with Levi Cox in front of him on those older tires, needing to track down Aaron Smith. And I will say, in the last couple of laps, Gregory Shepsis has closed it up about half a second on Aaron Smith, and we're continuing to see that lead shrink just a little bit. I'm wondering if we're having deja vu here of the first series of laps before that midway pit stop. But time will tell if Greg Shepsis is hanging on to those tires a little bit better right now, trying to chase down Aaron Smith. Meanwhile, Steven Lashinsky hasn't come down pit road yet, but he is up to 4th position in that number 99 Monster Jam car, doing a good job out there right now, staying out of trouble. Last time we put him on camera, I know he got off in the dirt a little bit. Looks like we're going to avoid that this time. But good run going for Steven Lashinsky in that number 99 car. Chase Leahy, Chris, we mentioned him having a little bit of trouble earlier. He's up to 5th position right now, having a good run in that Pine Golf Company. Number 34, Brandon Roberts in the 00 is running 6th. Robert Walton, 7th. Glenn Grimm, 8th. Chris Blassie, 9th. David Reichman is 10th. So, Chris, we've had a pretty good race. We haven't really seen any crazy moments on track except the one we just witnessed a couple of laps ago with Aaron Smith and Chris Blassie and Glenn Grimm. Everything's been obviously clean and green the entire way right now, but these drivers, they're got to be getting tired. Lap 33 of 60. How do you stay focused? I know you were talking about how this was one of your favorite points in the race where you're just kind of out there logging laps. How do you force yourself to stay focused as a driver? It's now, 8:48 Eastern time on the East Coast. It's, 35 laps in this race, or 34. We're almost an hour in. How do you keep that stamina and focus going on?
Well, I just try to always think about, I'm an oval racer primarily, so this is something that maybe is not my bread and butter. But I always try to think about racing the racetrack. I'm not really in a race against other people. I'm more so in a race on the racetrack, maybe against a stopwatch more than anything else, and that's sort of like my, internal, competition for me is, hey, am I falling off too much? That lap right there, did I slow down too much compared to my lap before? That's what I'm really after on a road course more than anything else. And, especially a track like Sonoma that just destroys rear tires. I'm just all about trying to stay focused on the agenda, and that is trying to make sure that those rear tires are still on my vehicle at the end of this thing. And this is just such a fun track to drive. I think I've talked about it earlier about this is a very different type of a road course compared to some other road courses that you see NASCAR vehicles on, or any other vehicle for that matter. It's a little bit unorthodox in some areas and in some places, and I just think it puts on a heck of a show. Really tests the drivers.
Oh, my goodness, yeah, and I've seen a couple of drivers really be tested, Chris. While you were talking there, Gregory Shepsis, I saw him sliding that car through several corners. I think he's just doing what he can to try to keep Aaron Smith in sight now, up to a 4-second lead. We're talking about 20-plus car lengths back to Greg Shepsis from the leader, Aaron Smith, right now rolling their way through the downhill segment of the track after working their way uphill. Man, I'm getting tired just watching these guys right now. Gregory Shepsis really close to the wall. He's done that a couple of times. Chris, why is getting so close to those tire barriers important? You obviously don't want to hit one of those 25,000 individual tires that are used as barriers, but why is getting so close to those tires on the exit of 4A so important?
Well, I think it's just, you're trying to maximize your speed there. And when Gregory Shepsis comes back around, we'll actually ride on board right here so all the people that are watching at home can see. It's just all about trying to maximize all the time that you possibly can. You want to get as close to the curbing on the inside as you can. A lot of times drivers will bounce off that inside curbing, and that kind of shoots them out there towards those tire barriers. You see the 6 of David Reichenman make a pit stop right here. His first one of the night. We're right on board with Gregory Shepsis as he goes up the hill right here to turn number 2. He's exiting turn 2 right here, coming up to turn 3 and 3A. You see Aaron Smith up ahead, and he's going up the hill right here. You can't really see what's ahead of him right here until he gets to this point right here. Now he's going downhill, and so watch how he gets on the brakes right here, hard on the brakes, clip that inside curve, and he wants to get back on the gas soon. And so you just want to utilize, you see how close he gets to that wall. You just want to try to keep your momentum going, and, you know, unfortunately, to try to keep as much speed as you can and as much momentum as you can, you just got to get as close as you can to that thing. It's just a risk-reward type of a scenario.
Risk versus reward indeed. Every driver trying to balance that tonight, Chris. Speaking of rewards, I got a reward for you for all the hard work you've done getting us through some of these onboard shots. I got another joke for you.
Oh boy. Yeah, great reward. Yeah.
You wanted the vampire one, right? Is that the one you want?
Well, I think that we were in the process of, I think I was in the process of answering this one last night, and we had trouble breakout. We never could respond.
Oh, now we definitely got to use it now.
Yeah.
Here's the Halloween riddle. Why do vampires make terrible race car drivers? Why do vampires make terrible race car drivers? If you got an answer for that question, let us know in the chat what you think the answer is. Why do vampires make terrible race car drivers? We're going to come back to that momentarily. We'll give you some think time on that. Aaron Smith not doing a whole lot of thinking right now. He's up 5.5 seconds on Gregory Shepsis. Levi Cox, meanwhile, is in 3rd position. Steven Lashinsky 4th. Couple drivers, I think actually the only driver, Chris, that has not made a pit stop is Steven Lashinsky. If you're him, what are you thinking if you're Lashinsky right now in the 99? You haven't made a pit stop. You're the lone car on track sitting in 4th on those old tires.
I think that he's just thinking, hey, I'm going to make as best a lap time as I possibly can in the final 20 laps. I think that since he's reached this point right here, he's probably going to run this thing dry, run it out of fuel, and then maybe just try to use the raw speed and raw pace that he's going to have on those fresh tires to maybe try to chase down some drivers that will be around him, because Chase Leahy is going to pass him right here once he does make a pit stop. The only question will be, does he have enough time and enough pace in those fresh tires to maybe give chase to Chase Leahy, no pun intended, and possibly be able to pass him for that spot. Remains to be seen. Maybe he's also thinking Brandon Roberts. Maybe he's looking at that 00 as the car that he would like to beat by the end of this thing.
One
Chris
car
Blassie.
sideways. Chris Blassie in front of Lashinsky down through that downhill complex. Gets it going. Never went full 360 around. About 180 degrees in that 15 track pass car. But right now gets it underway again. Chris Blassie currently in the 9th position. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, you were watching right there. That looked like maybe a downshift, a little bit too aggressive. We'll ride on board to see if we can hear anything going down into turn 7 here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sounded like right there just too aggressive of a downshift. Maybe wheel hop down there into turn 7 and turn that vehicle around. Luckily, everybody's able to get by right here. He's trying to stay out of everybody's way, and we don't have any contact there.
Chris, one note to make: all these camera angles you're seeing tonight provided to Slingshot Racing Media from Whiplash SimCam. So if you are an avid iRace screenshot taker, iRacing artist, you're just looking for great clips of your race cars, great screenshots, check out Whiplash SimCams. You can find their link in the video description. Thank you for them to providing those camera angles tonight. And I think it's time to give you the answer, Chris, for that little question. Why do vampires make terrible race car drivers? Do you have any guesses?
I had a good one last night. I know it has something to do with stakes, though. It has to.
They can't handle the high stakes on the racetrack.
Yeah, I knew it had something to do with stakes. I couldn't remember how I had it formulated last night.
Oh, but that was pretty good. You're pretty close. So good job. I still don't believe that you didn't look it up somewhere.
Well, if I was able to do that in the race, I definitely would.
Also, did I see a Casey Kane vitamin water billboard somewhere a moment ago on one of these replays. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I have seen the Vitamin Water billboard. I've seen the Dodge Charger billboard here. The scoring pylon here still has Dodge sponsorship on it as well, which I find funny because I think this is now the Toyota Save Mart 300 here at the Sonoma Raceway. Just some of those funny little, little logos that kind of get left behind as the tracks get updated, because there are, iRacing does such a great job of updating the tracks, but some logos still remain. The Coke 0400 is now the summer race at Daytona International Speedway, but we still got the home of the Pepsi 400 in the infield there, and I don't think it's been the Pepsi 400 for like 15 years now, something like that.
It needs to stay permanently.
Yeah.
Permanently. So isn't there a thing in iRacing where Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the president, founder of iRacing, place themselves somewhere on the track and kind of, the simulated racetrack?
I think it's Steve Myers.
Steve Myers and Dale Jr.
Yeah, I think the two of them are at every single track somewhere. And, if you're watching the racing right here, we're at a road course here, so it's a little bit more difficult to see the fans here than it is maybe at some of the other, like the oval tracks. You can see some of them right there on the other side of the drag strip, but you see the fans standing around right there, and somewhere in the mix of all those fans is Dale Jr. He's one of them, and one of the executives of iRacing, Steve Myers, is the other one. They're usually right there standing next to each other together, and I found them at a few of them. I don't think I've ever found them here, though.
Yeah, just a little bit of iRacing trivia for everyone, free of charge, obviously. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, you can sign up for that free autographed diecast giveaway, that Dale Jr. autographed diecast giveaway. Links in the video description or pinned at the top of the chat. Make sure you register to have your chance to win that. Aaron Smith, Chris, he's up now 6.3 seconds. I don't think Gregory Shepsis has any speed left in that old number 27 after showcasing a lot of it early on. The second run's been a bit of a different story now on lap 41 of 60, just 20 laps to go. John Rapp in the chat talking about how much he loves the billboards. Of course he does, because they've got Dodge. We know Johnny is a big old Dodge fan. But, that piece of history that they preserve. They do have Toyota in turn 11, though. So
and we got one car around is Levi Cox, and he's going to loop it right in front of Robert Walton. Walton's going to miss him. Yeah, Levi Cox is, I saw his car getting pretty sideways. He was pitching that thing around pretty aggressively, and I think he got those rear tires heated up, it looked like.
Yeah, we'll find out what happened to the driver of the number one. He's still in third position, I believe. Did not lose a position on that loop-de-loop he just took in the number one. He's second place in points, so this is kind of a big moment for the runner-up in points right now. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to have a little bit of fun right here. He doesn't have a lot of pressure on him. He's the last car on the lead lap. He's just lighting him up right there on corner exit, it looked like to me. And, it turned around right here up the hill. And, Robert Walton's going to go on around him right here. And you're going to have a little bit of excitement right here as we get to the closing laps of this race.
The closing laps just now 19 laps away in what has been a pretty
he's going to spin out race. Again, Ellis.
In the infield, I guess you might call it, towards the drag stretch. Not sure what's going on with number one right now. Hopefully he can keep that intact and not maybe have any contact with other drivers who are going to be approaching him. Not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, it looked like to me that he's almost trying to drift that thing around the track right here. So I think he's just trying to have a little bit of fun. Hopefully he's not heating those rear tires
leaders
up too
coming
much.
up on him, though. Aaron Smith not too far behind. He's going to let Aaron Smith go by, it looks like here, as Aaron Smith continues to work his way, Chris. Now just two cars on the lead lap. That's Aaron Smith and Gregory Shepsis, as Aaron Smith puts Levi Cox, his second place kind of number one contender rivalry there in the points. He puts him a lap down. Didn't expect to see that tonight, but Aaron Smith is an excellent racer on these road courses, and he's doing a great job of it tonight. Shepsis is going to be the next car to try to get by Levi Cox here. I believe that's Steven Lashinsky, actually, who's coming by. Levi Cox got by, Shepsis got by Levi Cox just a moment ago, and now Lashinsky's going to be the next driver to take on that task. Lashinsky did come, he's not come down pit road yet, Chris. Lap 43 of 60, he's got to be getting close to hitting that fuel window. He's going to have some great tires at the end of this race, though, that's for sure.
He is. The only question is he going to have enough time left in the race to, to make up that track position that he's losing right here? We'll actually pull up the last lap right here on the ticker so you can see where your favorite driver stood right there on the last lap. Levi Cox, his lap was invalidated because of that spin, but Lashinsky turned in a 121.367. I mean, that's not too bad compared to some of the other people that are around him that he's racing. So, yeah, I'm going to be curious about this strategy here to see maybe if he can gain that ground. He was faster than Chase Leahy that time. I don't know if Leahy maybe had a little bit of trouble. But, that's impressive considering his tires are 30 laps older than Leahy's.
Yeah, doing a really good job out there. Lashinsky at the ovals, as he wiggles just a little bit there, we've seen him drive some really loose race cars on old tires, Chris, and right now he's kind of displaying that same prowess that we've seen him have all season long. Lashinsky now up to the 4th position. He's going to be due for a pit stop here any moment in the next couple of laps. And this is a really long pit road with a pretty slow pit road speed. You just feel like you're crawling down here through pit road. And it's kind of a unique entrance. There he comes there. It's a unique entrance. And the pit road speed limit doesn't actually begin until that yellow line. So drivers can go as fast as they want through that hairpin. Yeah,
we were riding on board right there with Lashinsky as you saw him going through that corner right there. Unique pit road, as you mentioned, Ellis. The only thing that is, kind of normal is turning to the left to make your pit stop. Whereas when you go to the other, NASCAR, the road course that's synonymous with NASCAR stock car racing, Watkins Glen, you pit on the right side of pit road, and everything's kind of just a little bit reverse, a little bit opposite. But yeah, this is going to be interesting right here with Lashinsky. He has lost the spot to Leahy. He is currently in the 5th spot. Now he loses a spot to Brandon Roberts. And he is down and away right here. A little bit of a longer pit stop, it looked like. And he is going to come off of pit road, I would say about 11, 12 seconds maybe behind Brandon Roberts. So what can he do with Brandon Roberts here in the final 15 laps? Can he chase him down?
Yeah, it's going to be a story we're going to follow. And really, Steven Lashinsky didn't lose hardly anything. He didn't lose a position because when this whole cycle began, Lashinsky was running in 6th place anyway. So he's going to have a little bit of time to try to catch up with Brandon Roberts, not too far in front of him. We'll see how he can close that gap. That's going to be a storyline to follow over these last 15 laps or so. Aaron Smith now up to a 10-second lead. Anything can happen. We've seen that when Aaron Smith went around about 15 laps ago. Right before his pit stop, he kind of pulled an insane move and drove it backwards on the track, at least for about a quarter of a lap. But he's clean sailing right now. Smith is first, Gregory Sheps is second, Levi Cox third, Chase Leahy fourth, Brandon Roberts is fifth. We're going to take one more break here to hear from our partners at SimWrap Market, and then we'll bring you the final piece of this race, the final 14 laps or so, uninterrupted. We'll be back on the other end of this break. All right, live here at the virtual Sonoma Raceway, just about 13 laps to go for Aaron Smith. He's won the last 2 out of 3 races, trying to make it 3 out of 4 here for Aaron Smith, and then 4 out of 5 on the TNT season. Right now, domination in the Sonoma race. A bit of a moment of holding his breath about 15 laps ago, but he's recovered well. Watching Gregory Shepsis on pit road. Interesting strategy. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think that Gregory Shepsis maybe had an issue. He was on pit road for a long time right there. I wonder if maybe he got some damage right there on the racetrack. We see both the left front and the right front are damaged. I know he had a little bit of damage beforehand, but he was on pit road a long time. He was in his stall for 52 seconds there.
Yeah, I'm seeing if I can find out, just quickly going through the replay, maybe what happened. He ran off track right before he pit, but I don't see anything else that happened to him before that point. Well, he ran off into the grass right before he pit.
Yeah, he's got some time right here. If the car's not too badly damaged, he is about 1.8 seconds right here behind Levi Cox, closing in fast on him. Yeah, if you look right there at the left front, you know, he had a little bit of fender damage before, but I feel like that damage is a lot more significant than what we saw earlier, as I think that's Levi Cox locking up in front of him. But I don't think it's hurting him too badly on speed right here. Plus, having the newer tires definitely helps as well, as he is chasing down the driver of the 1 just up ahead. We'll see if he can do anything with him.
Now, Chris, I am curious. We're going to watch this battle. We'll talk about what I'm curious about momentarily, because he is going to have a little bit older tires. A little bit newer tires than Gregory Shepsis here. Levi Cox. He's got about 13 lap newer tires, so I'm curious to see how much Levi Cox holds him up, or if Cox recognizes the difference on tires and lets him by. Curious to ride on board with Shepsis for a moment and try to watch this pass.
Yeah,
or we can ride on board, with Levi Cox.
Yeah, you can see right here, Shepsis closing up on him a little bit, under braking right there. Shepsis has been a little bit faster than Cox all night, so having the fresher tires, if the damage on the car is not too significant, I think it should make this, fairly straightforward. But I don't think Levi Cox is going to just pull over and let him go, because here we are, we're coming up on 10 laps to go in this thing right here, and you got to fight for everything that you have. But man, you can just see that one car, how sideways it is, how much, traction those rear tires have given up. It might just be a moot point, as, he's sideways. He's still sideways through the hairpin turn 11.
Holds on to it, Levi Cox on those older tires. Shepsis goes around on the front straightaway. Where is Aaron Smith on the track? I think he's a little bit further ahead, but
he is.
Several cars coming by. Shepsis gathers it back up for the moment. What was a really good night, Chris. Shepsis might go back to 4th position. He's going to lose 3rd position to his teammate Chase Leahy, who's climbed in the top 3 for the first time tonight. Leahy really doing a good job. He's going to do battle with Shepsis. This might not be over. They head through the uphill portion of the track. Shepsis defers to his teammate Leahy, but how long will he ride behind him? Leahy really loose off the corner, drives it down almost into the grass. Shepsis by on the outside. Now they're going through turn number 4A, down into 7 here. And boy, Chris, that was a wild exchange there for a moment about just really one segment of the track. Things were going okay for Gregory Shepsis, and then all of a sudden that thing broke loose on the exit of turn 11 and was able to gather it back up, but not without a cost.
Yeah, that doing a lot of battle right there through that corner right there. And I don't think that there's any more significant damage to the 27 right here, but I wonder if maybe just whatever has happened to him on the track right here maybe has just caused that thing to just not drive as well as he would like for it to. Obviously, that spin right there kind of indicates that, I think, considering how fast he was and smooth he was earlier in the show. So, we'll see right here what he can do. I'm currently showing him about 9 seconds behind Levi Cox here, as see what he can do maybe here in these final about 10 laps, see what he can do to chase him down possibly.
Well, Chris, right before that little battle ensued, I was going to ask you what you thought maybe happened to the left front quarter, left front bumper of that number 27. I suspect
be right here.
that maybe it was, I think you might be right. I think he might have got a piece of that tire barrier.
Very well could. He's been pretty aggressive with it all night, trying to use all the track, trying to make as much time as he can. So that's definitely a possibility, but it could have happened anywhere. There could have been, just a lot of lap traffic out here on the track as well. So maybe somebody got a little bit free and into him. And speaking of the other drivers on the track, just want to give a quick update on David Reichman. He has pulled the number 6 car behind the wall tonight, so an early retirement for the driver of the number 6.
I heard he might have just been getting sleepy. He was turning into a pumpkin, so he had to go to bed. That was not a scripted joke. That was right off the cuff. And as Connor noticed in the chat, we can officially say that Aaron Smith has put the entire field of this race number 5 of the TNT Series a lap down, Chris. Aaron Smith has lapped the field with just now 8.5 laps remaining here from Sonoma Raceway. He's coming through that downhill segment, the final portion of this racetrack, turn 11, coming up here in a moment, and he's making it look easy, and we're not surprised by this. We've seen Aaron Smith dominate some road course races before. In Slingshot Racing League, we've seen him win at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. We've seen him win at Sonoma. We've seen him win at Watkins Glen. It seems like when there's a road course on the schedule, he is a lock to be running in the top 2 or 3 every place we go.
Yeah, one of my more miserable experiences running any type of a race was when we ran the Chicago Street Circuit with Aaron, and he put us all lap down in that one too. And yeah, he's just, next level on these types of tracks. Next level indeed. And I think it's probably going to continue to, obviously, Aaron Smith will extend his lead pending some sort of incident in these remaining laps. He's going to extend his lead over Levi Cox, but that battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th will continue to be hot with Gregory Shepsis, Chase Leahy finishing, and Steven Lashinsky finishing in the top 6 tonight. Not a lot of cars in the field this evening is going to give a lot of the drivers that we've talked about opportunities to make up some spots and some points on those drivers who are not in attendance tonight, maybe handing out some Halloween candy or going trick-or-treating themselves. But it's been a good night. It's been a lot of laps that these drivers have had to make around. They've stayed focused for the most part as we watch Chase Leahy roll around now up to the 4th position after getting passed by Gregory Shepsis, his teammate. Pine Golf. Chris, you play any golf? I do not. I am no good at golf.
You've tried, though.
I have tried, yes.
What'd you struggle with?
Everything. Everything. I'm just not very good at it.
I don't have the patience for golf.
Yeah,
I don't have the patience or the temperament for golf.
I don't.
I will lose it very quickly when things do not go well for me. So I think I played golf a couple of times, been to the driving range a few times, but it was never my sport.
Yeah, and some people tell me, I've had some people try to, convince me to go with them, that I would enjoy it, just being out, and I'm like, no, I don't enjoy not doing well at something. That's just not my thing, even being outside, just, walking a beautiful golf course, it just doesn't do much for me other than, if I'm doing well at it.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about the camaraderie and the community. I think people don't realize that also is pretty heavily embedded into the sim racing world. That's what a lot of drivers are in these leagues for. They all have a Discord chat they talk in during the race. They have text channels they talk with each other throughout the week, and it's like a little community in and of itself. And we've enjoyed being part of that. In our own league, we've enjoyed being part of that in the TNT series, and Chase has helped kind of create that for TNT series as he is kind of a driver and owner of this league, doing a great job out there right now in the 4th position. Brandon Roberts is running right now in the 5th position in that 00. He's been running there most of the night. I think he started 4th, lost a position pretty early, but Brandon Roberts doing a really good job in that 00. That driver out of Texas, only been sim racing for 4 years. pretty good for only 4 years. Like Chris, we've been doing it for almost 20 years, and he's probably better than I am. So fast learner for Brandon Roberts here. He loves short tracks. Chris, how well does short track prowess translate into what we're seeing tonight on this road course at Sonoma? Any carryover there?
I think there is a little bit of technique carryover, especially a track like Martinsville, for instance, where you kind of have to have that braking finesse technique to not lock the brakes up and wheel hop down into the corners on corner entries. So I definitely think there is a slight bit of correlation there, but for the technique, a lot of the other techniques that you use on short tracks, maybe not as much, but that's definitely something that I think does carry over.
Yeah, right now, Brandon Roberts, short track expert, doing a good job here. Top 5 right now with just about 5 laps left in this race. Glenn Grimm back in the 8th position, having a good night, just kind of running his laps. He was involved in that incident with Aaron Smith, doing battle with Chris Blassie. Smith got kind of caught up in that just about 30 laps or so ago. Smith's going to have to get by Grimm here again just momentarily as they head through the S's for one of the final times tonight. If you're Aaron Smith, are you getting nervous when you're coming up on a car that you were maybe involved with an earlier incident? Does he give a wider berth this time? Does Glenn Grimm maybe give a wider berth? We're about to find out as they come down turn 11 on its way. No issue here. Aaron Smith sets up that pass perfectly down into 11. He's going to go on by Glenn Grimm in that Jeff Gordon throwback paint scheme tonight. It's going to be Aaron taking the 4 to go here at Sonoma Raceway. Race number 5 coming to its conclusion. Levi Cox, Chris, he's in second. This tire strategy ended up working for him okay. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we do have a battle right here for the final step on the podium right here. Chase Leahy, the last couple laps, has taken a little bit of a bite out of Gregory Shepsis' third place running position right here. And I think that the damage on Shepsis' 27 car, and he's going off track right here. He's into the tire barrier.
Into the wall now for the second or third time tonight. We've seen him overdrive that corner a couple of times, and he does it really hard that time down into 11. But boy, Chris, that was a moment for Shepsis.
Always going around. Yeah, I think that damage right here is just, when you get a little bit of damage and you just continue, making contact with the walls, obviously you're making it worse and worse and worse. So I think for Shepsis right here, just sort of pace yourself, try to take it easy, and get that thing back around for the finish. It's going to be hard because this thing is not driving well at all. You can see the tires are not going in the right direction.
Not going in the right direction. Aaron Smith, though, is with just about 3.5 laps left. Gregory Sheps is trying to hold on to a 4th position right now. I'm trying to find out. Brandon Roberts is going to be coming up on Shepsis. That's going to be a battle we're going to have to keep an eye on, Chris. But catching up on a little bit of the chat right now, John Rapp says son Johnny is a expert at Wii golf, apparently. So who knew? I didn't know that was one of the many hidden talents of Johnny Rapp in the chat. But Wii golf, gotta love a little bit of Wii golf every once in a while. That was one of the better Wii games. Tennis as well. Bowling was a pretty good one as well. Other chats right now, Connor says if he's an F1 fan, then Aaron Smith is likely a Max Verstappen fan. I would probably wholly agree with some of the domination that we've seen. Max not having as dominating of a season this year in F1 as he did last season, but still about the same amount of speed and prowess in the virtual world, at least on Showcase right now for Aaron Smith. So appreciate everyone joining in the chat tonight. Great work in there. John says the 27 is mangled. Yes, that is an accurate assessment, I think, of the front end of that number 27 of Gregory Shepsis. Brandon Roberts continuing, Chris, to close ever closer to the back bumper. He's going to be running out of laps, though. This battle for 4th position, Shepsis currently holding that 4th position, but Brandon Roberts wants to say something about that in that 0-0 by the time the night is over, working their way down through that downhill portion of the track. It's Brandon Roberts going for the 4th position. I think he's probably going to catch him in less than a lap, Chris.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard for Shepsis to hold off Roberts here, I think. And Yeah, it's just that damage, just a little bit too much. You see how hard it is to get that car to turn right here. Here's Roberts all over him right here as they make their way through the S's. Hard to do this side by side right here. Gregory Shepsis, I think that he knows that that's a position that he's probably going to have to concede.
He's going to concede it, and Brandon Roberts takes over the 4th position, and the closure of the S's headed down to turn 10 and the 11 complex.
Oh, Roberts
here.
Going off here.
Can Shepsis take advantage of that? Not enough ground made up there, but he's going to have a better entry point into turn 11 here. Shepsis looking to see if he can maybe hold on to that 4th position, but I think Chase Leahy and Brandon Roberts just going to have too much for him tonight. Shepsis might have to settle for the back end of the top 5, Chris. Aaron Smith going to be coming to the white flag here after 60 laps of hard racing. Aaron Smith just has one more lap around the track. He's got one car in front of him. I believe that is Steven Lashinsky, who looks a little loose there. Aaron Smith's going to have to be careful as he approaches Lashinsky to put him a 2nd lap down tonight. Will he just be content to ride, though? I think the answer very well could be yes here. With no one even anywhere near him, he's going to get a little bit aggressive down here into 4A, though, as they approach 7.
Yeah, we saw Steven Lashinsky, the last driver to come to pit row right there. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to use these fresh tires to be able to make up that ground, but still a nice solid run for him tonight as Aaron Smith has been untouchable.
Untouchable indeed. Lashinsky sitting 6th with Robert Walton, Blassie, and Grimm behind him, the top 9. Just about a third of a lap left for Aaron Smith as he enters into the final complex, into 10, and then down to turn 11. He's got one car in front of him. I think he's going to be glad just to let him ride in front of him. It's down into the hairpin for the final time tonight for Aaron Smith, who's put the tire every which way he can, including backwards tonight. But Aaron Smith is going to make it work. A dominating performance for Aaron Smith. Win number 4 on the season for driver number 70. It's going to be Levi Cox 2nd, Chase Leahy with another top 3 here tonight at Sonoma. Great win for Aaron Smith as he drifts it around the track here. A little bit of a celebratory drift for the driver number 70, who led from point to point tonight, Chris.
Going around. He's doing it in SVG fashion right here. If you watch Shane Van Gisbergen win the Xfinity Series race here at Sonoma, you've seen this before right here. Ellis, we're going to have to wait for these drivers to cross the line before we pull them into the before we pull them up here into the booth, aren't we?
Yeah, I believe so. Levi Cox is going to be crossing the start-finish line here momentarily. Chase Leahy not too far behind him, going through turn 11 right now to the start-finish line. And, yeah, I think this is the longest we've had to wait all season long. Obviously, road course presents a whole new set of challenges, including those right-hand turns. But these top 3, they did a great job tonight. Performances all around for the top 3, Smith, Cox, and Leahy. We're going to hear from them momentarily. Give us just a second to try to get them into the booth. We'll be waiting on Chase. We'll pull him in real quick.
Aaron Smith hits a tire barrier here.
He's not going to care at this point at all, though. He is going to be in victory lane here momentarily. Let's hear from Chase Leahy, finisher, 3rd position tonight. Hey, Chase Leahy, this is Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
I do. How you guys doing?
Oh, man, great. Great race for you tonight. Kind of an evening of ups and downs. I know you were able to capitalize on some of the misfortunes of the other drivers, but you walk away with another top 3 finish. Now, 2 weeks in a row. Congrats on that, man. Talk to us about how that car was handling tonight and the biggest challenges you faced out there.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great race from start to finish. Congrats to Aaron. You know, I think we kind of all knew he was going to win this. But yeah, no, the car felt great. I was kind of letting everybody make mistakes around me and just be consistent and just take off laps, lap after lap after lap.
And you did a great job in that pinegolf.com number 34 Chevrolet. Congratulations. Any shout-outs before we let you get out of here and celebrate that podium?
Yeah, just want to thank everybody who watches the stream. I know I got a couple of family members upstairs who are beating and banging up there. I can hear them. So thank you, everybody who's watching, and see you guys next week.
Absolutely, man. Have a good night.
You too. Happy Halloween, guys.
You as well. All right, so that was Chase Leahy. Now we're going to pull in second place finisher Levi Cox.
Levi Cox, our second place finisher tonight. This is the Slingshot booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Got you loud and clear, man. Hey, you persevered all night tonight. We saw you here in the final half of the race right here get that number one Chevy sideways a couple times. We saw you loop it around as well. Talk to us about your challenges that you faced here tonight. It looked like those rear tires were definitely suffering on a lot of the vehicles out there.
Yeah, I was fighting my attention span mostly. The first 30 laps, I tried to give it a good go, and then coming out of pits, and they're like, I don't know, 24, 30 seconds ahead of me, something like that. I don't know. Just trying to have a little fun and do the best I could with it.
We thought that that's what was going on right there when you had that thing sideways. It looked like you were just trying to have a little bit of fun right there. But hey, you come out of here with a second place finish tonight. You got to be happy about that. Is road course racing something that you enjoy doing, or is this something that you just want to get through and move on to the next one?
I enjoy it, but also I know that I have nothing for Aaron, so just really trying to do the best I could. I thought I was going to finish third, and then Gregory, he was coming past me and got loose in front of me, and I was like, well, that was a gift. So just trying to hold on to Aaron. It looks like we got a good couple tracks coming up for us. I'm excited for the next 6 weeks. Talladega as a wild card, but Auto Club, Dover, Charlotte, Indianapolis, Darlington. I think we can close the gap on Aaron coming up, so we're gonna have to do the best we can, because I think these playoff seedings is going to make a big difference in the playoff standings come the championship. So
we're definitely interested to see how that plays out and how you perform over these next few weeks. Before we let you go celebrate this second place finish, any shout outs that you want to give?
Yeah, crew chief Larry Yingling again tonight. Thank you guys for the broadcast. Simrap Market, SimRace Media. Thank you to Chance for putting on the league, or Chase. And Cody Glenn Cox Music on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube.
All right, that is Levi Cox, your second place finisher tonight at Sonoma. Congratulations, bud.
Thank you, guys.
All right, now we're going to hear from our winner. Dominating performance for Aaron Smith tonight. Let's hear from him. Aaron Smith, driver the number 70. It's Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy.
Yeah, I've got you.
Man, congratulations on a dominating performance. It did not come without its challenges. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but let's talk about the last let's just get to it, actually. Who am I kidding? That moment where you got turned around, involved in kind of a lap car battle. Walk us through what you were thinking as you were approaching that, what happened, and then that crazy move to drive it backwards halfway down the track.
Yeah, I saw Greg pit a few laps early. I knew that a good trip through the pits would take me about 42 or 43 seconds, so I wanted to maintain that gap and try to get out ahead of him, as far ahead of him as I could there, excuse me. But yeah, I got to those lap cars. Of course, the only two cars that are close to each other on the track just happened to be right there in the S's, and I tried to cross one of them up, and I don't know if I pinched the 15 off there or if he just kind of slid across into me, but it was a poor choice on my part. Probably shouldn't have put myself in that position, but it gave me an opportunity to add something to the highlight reel, so I'll take it.
Man, it was a highlight reel for sure tonight. You put on a dominating performance. I was asking Chris what he thought about this, but I'll ask you from the driver's seat. What do you do to stay focused when you're just kind of out there running, laps like you're on a Sunday drive, as it seems you were? What do you do to kind of stay in the zone?
I don't know, honestly. I feel like I kind of zoned out there for the last 30 laps. But, yeah, I kind of just stare at all the apexes, aim for them. I have some music playing in the background while I run these races, so that helps me out quite a bit, just staying in line. But, yeah, I'm not too sure, honestly.
What do you got in the playlist?
Well, my internet's not very good, so I can't really load more than one song at a time. What was it tonight? Oh, wow. Well, you see how attentive I was. I don't remember what I was
okay, so you're listening to
great.
one song on loop.
Yes.
Oh man, that is that may be the
so.
secret, Chris. That might be the secret. We're gonna have to
to
share that. I'm gonna try that. Just put one intense song on loop the entire night, and maybe that's the Aaron Smith factor there. But all joking aside, man, great performance tonight. You're gonna extend your points lead just a little bit. We're headed to Auto Club next week. What do you expect from Auto Club?
Hope we get a hot track next week. They've all been really cold lately, but yeah, if we get a decent temperature next week, it should be a really fun race. I'm pretty sure the bottom's going to be the way to go the entire race again, but it should be fun nonetheless.
All right, man. We'll look forward to seeing you out there in Southern California once again next week. Any shout-outs before we let you go celebrate?
Well, as always, I'd like to thank the folks at the Thursday Night Thunder League for putting this show on, off broadcasting, as well as the folks at PT Autosport. I'll be heading up to New Jersey in a couple weeks, or about a week and a half, to go compete for a 2-year sports car racing contract. So that'll be fun. Looking forward to that. I'd like to thank them for the opportunity, and I'd like to thank all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it next week.
Yeah, man, that's going to be awesome. We're looking forward to hearing all about that. Go celebrate. Enjoy your trip out there, and good luck, and we'll talk to you next week.
10-4. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye. All right, so that was Aaron Smith, winner tonight, Chris. It was a great race. We saw a lot of amazing driving from these drivers out on Sonoma, the 11-turn road course, making right and left turns tonight. We're headed to Auto Club, a big 2-mile track next week, going to be a lot different than we saw tonight. The field was small tonight. We expect a bigger field next week. What else can we expect to see out at Auto Club from the fans' perspective, Chris?
Well, that's a big, wide, 2-mile D-shaped oval, Ellis, and I think that you're going to see drivers all over the racetrack. I think that you're going to see them from the top lane all the way down to the bottom lane. Love the show that Auto Club puts on. It's usually very entertaining, and I agree with Aaron. I hope that it's a really hot race, because when that track is hot, it puts on a great show regardless of the weather, but when it's warm, it puts on a great show. So looking forward to seeing these drivers get around that track next week.
10 drivers made it away around the track tonight. You can see those session results there. We talked to the top 3. Brandon Roberts, 4th. Greg Shepsis has to settle for 5th after running 2nd much of the night. Steve Lashinsky, 6th. Robert Walton, 7th. Chris Blassie brings it home 8th. Glenn Grimm finishes 9th. And David Reichman, who parked it a little bit early, finishes 10th. Man, we're headed to Auto Club next week. Same time, same channel. It's going to be a great race, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. If you're with us at any point tonight, we hope everyone has a happy and safe Halloween and a great week up ahead. We'll talk to you next week from Auto Club Speedway. For Ellis and Chris and Slingshot Racing Media, have a great night, everybody.